Hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster, with another Seminole Ridge Army J. ROTC critique. This is for the Unarmed squad, and here we go. What I'm noticing here, and you can't see my cursor, but I'll just identify the cadet who is second from the rear. The arm swing here, let me see if I can back it up. There we go, that's clear. I'm sorry for the pixelation. The original video isn't as clear. Anyway, so we can see a little bit of a variation. There we go. All right, so we can see a little bit of variation in arm swing technique here. This is the arm actually comes out from the body for this 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth cadet here. The fifth cadet in line, arm swing comes out, and then actually comes, he swings in front of, just slightly in front of his left thigh, and also not as far back as the other cadets. So you can see both hands are doing this for the arm swing. And then also as he comes through that pivot there, his timing is off. The spacing is off for the last two cadets there. Their spacing is consistent, interestingly enough, but then the first four are also consistent, and they're at normal interval. They have normal spacing. The last two don't, but they catch up and everything's fine. Commander is well spaced, and then adjusts for getting on center. So here, fifth cadet, you need to pull your thumbs back to the seam of your trouser legs, and then also don't bend. So when I first joined ROTC back in junior ROTC, Air Force Junior ROTC, Agua Fria High School, Avondale, Arizona, when I first joined and I went to drill team practice, I tried out for the drill team, got on, which was really nice, but I used to fall in like this. Not this bad, I just want you to be able to see with the microphone here in the way, but I fell in with my elbows bent. I had no idea what I was doing when I was first a cadet. I didn't know how to stand at attention, and of course, you get cadets who will laugh at you when you first join because you do things differently. You don't know what you're doing. You have really no idea. So anyway, I was told I looked like I was going to attack someone. Well, it's kind of the same thought process here. So just it usually helps if somebody else is around you and you can tap on the elbows, and then it's by tapping it's sending a sensory signal up to your brain, and it tells your brain to concentrate on that area. So then you can lower your elbows there, unbend your elbows, and then extend your arms and lock those arms into where they need to be. Last cadet, possibly the same instance here, and then also what looks like to be third cadet as well, possibly the same, wearing the beret kind of on the back of the head, a couple of you, instead of having it, the beret rim needs to be level with the ground, parallel with the deck, parallel with the ground. So Commander, don't perform the movements that you're calling for the team. You are commanding the team. You're not part of the team, you're commanding the team. Yes, sure, you're a little bit of a timing issue there on the facing movement, but you're not in the formation, you're outside of it, commanding it. Very good right step technique. Excellent job at keeping the spacing. Poor job here of keeping alignment. So this has to do with the end step. I don't know if I can pause this in time. I hope so. Crud. Maybe I can there. Okay, so that's not too bad. that looks like the end step. But I'm wondering if it doesn't look like the end step actually is the problem. So here's what the end step is. It's my term for the last step you take in a specific direction, and that's whether you're going to flank or whether you're going to halt. So the end step here is this right foot. It was probably 4 steps forward march, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then halt. So it looks like, though, steps leading up to all of these steps were inconsistent in length. So we know that we're supposed to execute for the Army a 30-inch step, and that's measured from heel to heel. Some people think it's heel to toe, but no, it's heel to heel. The only consistent part of our body is for our feet is the heel. Our feet are whatever length they are, whatever God intended. So you can't measure accurately using something that is so variable. So we measure heel to heel, and it does look like here that, see, when they halt, you notice that these two, the third and the fourth cadets, are both behind pretty much the rest of the formation. And that is because I'm guessing here, because in noticing the end step there, that last step before they brought the left up to close at the halt, it looked like everybody was really very consistent in application of that step, or at least the step length, I should say. So that's most likely the issue, and so alignment there is just, kind of blown out of the water there. But I'd like to look back here, see what the commander does. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It was a couple of steps forward. So recovery then should have taken place as close as or as quickly as possible, and then we're not applying the side step to the right anyway as consistently as the left step. The left step was just fantastic. That was really good. Now it's starting to degrade a little bit. So spacing here is starting to be a little inconsistent. So what you don't, you've got to touch the fingertips. You have to touch the fingertips. That's a requirement. Now, look, the first two here, excellent left arms. Arms have to be horizontal. Good left arm here, good left arm here, terrible. That's not good at all. Horizontal, nothing more, nothing less. Has to be horizontal. If somebody is beside you and this is their shoulder and your fingertips end here, then they end here. The individual whose shoulder is lower then needs to look and guesstimate as to the proper positioning. But okay, that's better. That's better. But you moved after, so it's a secondary movement. You corrected it. I'm glad. That's good. But it still should have been from the very beginning. And you all need to take as you execute this movement. I'd like to see this again. So you're stepping out too far to the left to try and compensate as to what's coming next. So you moved these two right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You moved too much to your left, so that you overcompensated by moving too far to the left, so then you had to step back to the right. And both of you then it looks like neither one of you is touching the fingertips to the right there. And then that's definitely, and it looks like, so for third cadet, looks like you're doing this, pushing your arm out. There we go. Pushing your arm out, and you have that that kind of bend in the wrist there, as you know, kind of doing that type of thing, when really it should be nice and flat all the way across. But that overcompensation is a killer, honestly. So as far the as far as the alignment goes, is this just supposed to be a procedural check, or are you supposed to actually go through and make sure that the alignment is good, or is as exact as possible? So if so, fine. You say up, back, you know, whatever. That's fine. But make sure that you're checking the heels there, Commander, and nothing else. I see this all the time where the commander will step to the left and then step to the right, and so stepping to the right means you're stepping in front of the squad or the element, and that's useless. That has nothing to do with alignment at all. You always step to the left because you check the heels. Remember, I said it's the most consistent thing for our bodies, and so this is if everybody has decent posture. Now there could be somebody who stands and leans forward like this, has a hip rotation and all that, so they're going to look out of place anyway. Their shoulders might be forward of everybody else. Hips definitely might be forward, but it looks like everybody has pretty good posture here, so it's not not that big of a deal. All right, Commander, so back here you're going to take one, two, three, and then you halt, left face, ready front. Don't flank, and then come and center. So you should have ready fronted the command back there. 3 steps forward, left face, ready front, march to the center, and then continue. Well, you kind of did a face-in march off. So, Commander, I'm glad you're facing the squad as you're as you're halted. That's great, but you're going to execute a face-in march to the left to step off with the squad, and that face-in march is going to be, so here's your feet. That face-in march, the pivot is going to be on the right platform. The platform is the ball of your foot and everything forward. So that's the platform. That's where you pivot. All right, so you're going to pivot on the right and take the left foot and push it out to the left, taking that first 30-inch step. What you did was more of a facing movement and then kind of awkwardly step off. Watch the feet. Kind of, yeah, facing movement. Oh boy, was that supposed to be change step? Okay, not the technique we're looking for here. Step, step, step. Yeah, don't skip. All right, so many years ago, when I was in the Air Force, when I was first in the Air Force, we skipped. Everybody skipped throughout all of the services, and then somebody noticed that it looked really kind of dumb, honestly. So what was created then was a foot slide. So what you're supposed to do is change step, march, step, step, step. Okay, it's just supposed to be like almost a cha-cha type of thing, you know, just a bit. So change step, march, step, 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 and it's supposed to be dut, dut, dut. You're marching along, left, right, left, right, left, change step, march, left, right, left. You have to do it with that extra fast, that's double the tempo. You have to do that in order to actually change step. If you just go about it with a regular tempo, right, left, right, then you're never going to change step. It has to be step, 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 and the right foot is brought up alongside the left heel, and then another left step is taken. So it's step, step, step. And you just slide the right in and then take that step forward, but don't skip. Okay, so Commander, what you should do as the team is turning here, all right, the team is, I want to try and, I'm kind of getting washed out there. So as the team is coming up here for this turn, what you're going to do is come up 45, 45. Okay, you're going to do a 45-degree turn and then another 45-degree turn, while everybody else is doing a 90-degree turn. All right. That's going to keep you centered. You need to be centered on I was going to say platoon, on the squad. So end steps there are not working all that well. I can see bigger steps, which is probably causing alignment issues. I really would love to be right where this judge is, right there. Only I'd like to be watching the performance, Judge, instead of writing. I see these score sheets are absolutely awful. Army J. Razzi created these. They're terrible score sheets. When you have to give a score on every little tiny thing, you spend all of your time writing. You're trying to watch, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. Off my soapbox. All right, so your end steps for flanks are not working well. End steps for flanks need to be half steps. All right, and I saw full steps being taken and then kind of falling into that first step as you're going in the new direction. So let me illustrate this here. Watch right here. Right in here was the a fuller step than the others took. That's really good spacing and keeping that spacing. So where are you, Commander? All right, so you're centered now. There's so many who believe that you have to be centered, that actually centered means that you are not centered on on a space, but you're on an individual directly behind or in front of or next to an individual who's just behind center. That is a bad interpretation of what the Marine Corps standard is, and I go over that in another presentation. There's no such thing as centering. For anybody else watching out there, there's no such thing as centering on the individual who's behind center. No such thing. I go over it in the presentation that I made because there was a know-it-all somewhere trying to say this is exactly what I think it was the Air Force does, and that's not even close. Not even close. Yeah, sure, we got our techniques, some of our techniques from the Marine Corps, but no. Sorry, that's not. All right, so all right. Look at spacing here. Consistent between these two, but then smaller coming out. But as soon as the flank there, an immediate and arm swing there is really quite. He's anticipating. Second cadet is pre-anticipating the upcoming movement there, not swinging his arms well at all up to and then through that pivot. Army swings through pivots. Air Force pins, and well, Air Force pins. Air Force and Space Force pin their arms through pivots, through 90-degree pivots, and not 45. But then everybody else swings through those pivots. Yeah, see, Commander, what you did there, you're just flanking, you're just doing a 90 degree and then kind of coming out awkwardly. See how you're coming out there a little awkwardly? Yeah, and so making those two 45-degree pivots with a few steps in between, probably three steps in between, is going to work out much better for you. It's going to be more accurate and look more professional, but also the whole team needs to work on arm swing. Not only arm swing while you're marching forward, but arm swing through pivots. Well, leading up to and then through pivots. Second cadet right there, swinging a little bit of his shoulders forward. So, interestingly about interesting note about half step. Half step for the Army, the Air Force, and the Space Force requires a heel strike because it's half of a full step. That's it. It's just half step. Half step is, and we go back to read what the normal 30-inch, or for the Air Force and Space Force, 24-inch step is. It's a heel strike. So we half step with a heel strike. Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard, half step with a toe strike, which is kind of strange looking until you get into colors, then it works well. So we have a whole foot step, a whole foot half step. Let's go back just a little bit more. We have a whole foot half step, and then we have a toe strike half step, it looks like, with a couple of people. And then just kind of a shuffle. One or two of the team members actually just shuffles their feet forward. Boy, that was very accurate on those pivots. Well done. That's how you keep spacing. So, and spacing here towards the end, a little bit off, just a little bit. So, Commander, if you halt and the judge is somewhere else, or if you halt and you're not centered, don't do those little facing movements. We don't do that in the U.S. military. All right. What you're going to do is turn around. You're going to face square away from your formation, and then you're going to look and salute the individual wherever they are. Doesn't matter, whatever degree, doesn't matter. And then you're going to salute and report out. Oh, so Commander, it looked like you actually did that a couple of 45 a couple of 45-degree pivots there with a, it looked like a step in between. So look at the arm swing. Look, see the variation of technique in there, and how even with an individual, say, well, I'll just talk about the squad leader here. Right hand is swinging back and forth like this. Left hand is swinging back and forth like this. So little bit of a technique issue, and that's common with people, depending on whether they're right or left-handed. Well, good. Okay, so yeah, and another 24 minutes of your life gone that you can't get back after watching this. But I really hope that my input is helping you and others understand the application of the standards and the techniques that we need to do through regulation drill. And then when it comes to exhibition drill, it's pretty much have at it. You know, whatever you can devise in your head. All right, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching.